Shortstop Reynolds has it. In time.
What a pitcher. This crowd, look at them.
We'll go to the bottom of the 10th inning. We have no score.
Woods, Gary Woods, the young man from Tucson, is going to pinch hit for Joe Niekro, who has been a simply remarkable pitcher.
Got it.
There's a case of looking for one pitch, not getting it. He took a fastball right down the middle.
He goes. The pitch checked on. The throw through. He's out.
And he got no kind of jump at all. That's why he was out. Tug McGraw had him handcuffed to first base. Look at it again. Tuggaroo had him psyched out. He really did.
So Cabell is out. We'll go to the 11th in a moment. 2-strike pitch to Maddox. To right center, look out, it may go through there. Cut down by Poole, throw back in. Maddox at second, double.
Maddox continues to be the strong man of the Phillies.
2 strikes to count. 2 out and 2 on the top of the 11th inning. No score. Struck him out.
How do you beat a ball game like this? At everything.
To the bottom of the 11th in a scoreless ball game, Game 3, National League Championship Series. 1-1. The big gap in the outfield for Joe Morgan is in left center field. They actually play in the pole. There you see the gap out there. Maddox in right center, McBain straight away right. Ball hit deep to right. Way back. Going. McBride with a wall. Flag is off the wall. Morgan around second. Morgan heading for third.
Limping to third on that bad knee. One of the greatest professionals of our time in Major League Baseball, Joe Morgan. And now the stage is set.
Fly ball out into shallow left. They will challenge him and he'll score. I know he had to back out. Brzezinski. Here comes Landeskog. The throw way off the mark. The Astros win it.
Look at these people. It's a sight to see. The 1980 National League Championship Series. Live from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Astros, champions of the West, host the Phillies, champions in the East. Pete, because of all of the aftermath on your attempt to get home yesterday, I'd like you to take us through your thinking, the manager's thinking, when you were on third base.
Well, first of all, Howard, whenever you're on third base with no outs, the coach will 99 out of 100 times tell you to make the ball go through. You're looking for the sacrifice fly. So your lead at third is not quite as far as the third baseman because you can't afford a line drive double play. I remember last night's game with the Yankees. Reggie was leading off second base. The guy hit a line drive to shortstop, and they doubled him off and took him right out of a big inning. So with no outs, you can't be doubled off of third base. Now with 1 out, which there was yesterday with Mike Schmidt, second, third, runners on second and third, I got to get a lead as far as the third baseman, and I go on contact. I'm thinking walking towards home, and I go on contact. Hopefully he'll hit the ball to short or second because they're giving us the run. But as you can see right here, Mike Schmidt hits the ball, hits it hard, right to the third baseman. So even if I stop there, he's got me. See, because I'm further off than he is. He's just got me in a rundown. Now, if any mistake was made here, is the fact that when I saw I was going to be out, which you can see right here, I should have stopped and tried to give Mike a chance to get to second base, and we got the same situation, second, third, and 2 outs. It still takes a single to score you. So that was the only mistake I made, was not getting in the rundown. But sometimes, you know, I'm going full blast right here, and the catcher hasn't received the ball yet, so I think it's going to be close. And it's not. It is a close play right there. So I can't take the chance that I might kick the ball out of his glove. You saw that against the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers when someone kicked the ball out of Ferguson's glove. That can happen too. So there wasn't really no baseball mistake made yesterday.
All right, so much for that. In summary, you went on Dallas Green's orders to go on contact. You get that order, you take a walking lead. No way, then, you can go back. Now, the only possible mistake you made was not forcing a rundown so that Mike Schmidt could have gone the second. That out of the way. How much did that defeat take out of you? What about Carlton today?
Well, I don't really concern myself, Howard, simply because we're swinging the bats. We're getting a lot of base hits. We're just not getting sacrifice flies. We'd be already National League champions if we could hit some sacrifice flies this week. But we're not getting blown out of the ballpark. It's just a difference of one play here or there. We'd be 3-0 right now instead of 1-2. And I would be a lot more concerned if I didn't have Steve Carlton pitching for me today. But I feel that he's the best pitcher in the National League and perhaps baseball. And you need a game to win. Who else would you like pitching for you other than Steve Carlton? And I just think that we can go 2-2 after today's game and see what happens tomorrow.
You told the people of Philadelphia when you came, I'm going to bring a pennant to Philadelphia. You regret that statement?
No, sir, because I feel that this ball club is a better ball club right now. We're just not playing as good as the Astros right now. But man for man, I think this ball club is as good as any ball club in baseball. And we just got our work cut out for us today, and we just got to go make it happen.
All right, the batting order. First, the major change I told you about. Lonnie Smith in left field leading off. We'll develop that story later. Then Pete Rose, Mike Schmidt, Bake McBride, Manny Trio, Gary Maddox, Larry Boa, Bob Boone, and Steve Carlton. Carlton, one of those many Philly good-hitting pitchers.
All right, Howard, Lonnie Smith to lead it off. He hit .339 on the year with 3 home runs and 20 RBIs. He is 1 for 1 in the playoff series. And, of course, that one big base hit that he got at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia caused all kinds of controversy. That was the play when Bake McBride did not score in game number 2. We're ready to go. And Vern Ruhle delivers a strike. Ruhle, a record of 12 wins and 4 losses and a 2.38 earned run average on the year. Very quiet right-hander delivers a breaking pitch inside, and the count goes even at 1-1. Another sellout crowd here at the Astrodome this afternoon, and you know that they are just sitting on pins and needles. They are waiting to explode if their Astros can win.
Ruhle is a man, as you look at Lonnie Smith leading off. They have their best, the Phillies do, winning record with Lonnie Smith leading off. He is a speedster. Compare those figures with when Pete Rose leads off.
In hard, there is the shortstop, Landeskog, and there's one away. Rafael Landeskog, he has scored both winning runs in this championship series that the Astros have won. Well, with one down, we will go to the first baseman, Pete Rose. Rose, 5 hits in 13 at-bats in the championship series with a couple of base on balls, and that figures out to be at .385.
Quickly, back to why you didn't see Luzinski. Dallas Green never told him a word about why he took him out of the lineup. Luzinski seemed openly miffed about it, but Green wanted speed. Green now knows and has known all along that the Astrodome negates power. Luzinski powered one yesterday, would have been way out at that stadium. We're at 1-1.
A ball and a strike to Rose. 1 out, game just underway. Game number 4. Vern Ruhle, excellent control. He kind of says, I'm a on or out in 3 pitches type pitcher. Now what that means is the hitter either gets on or he makes an out. I like to throw strikes and get in and out of here. Line to left coming on is Cruz, and he makes a play. A great running catch by Jose Cruz, and right there, Terry Tata, the left field umpire, to make the call.
All right, here it is again, and by now you've grown accustomed to this kind of thing with these Astros. Speed and opportunism, they're trademarks. They make the big plays in the field. Here it is again. Cruz got the quick jump, came in swiftly on the ball, gambled some, but was there to make the catch.
There's one more shot of it as he comes in. There's some good angles for you to look at, and right there you see the umpire down the left field line, Terry Tata, to make the call. So very quickly 2 outs for the Phillies. And here's Mike Schmidt. Mike hitting just .214 in this series. 3 hits in 14 at-bats. He has 1 extra base hit. That was a double.
Fields, he's been hitting in tough luck, especially when he drove one sharply to third on the play that Pete Rose talked about when Pete attempted to score.
Doug Harvey, the home plate umpire. You've got the veteran behind the plate. Ruhle has really not pitched that much against the Philadelphia Phillies in his career. Just a few innings in relief. So it's a little bit of a new experience as far as the Phillies are concerned, and of course for Ruhle. And you would have to say, as you go along, it's not really the first time, but maybe the first time over any prolonged period of time. You might say advantage Ruhle for a while. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs to Schmidt. Two and two the count. These Astro fans, it's like sitting on top of Mount St. Helen, Howard.
Tremendous.
Well, there's the sinker. He has a sinker, slider, curve type pitcher. Not really an overpowering type pitcher, but excellent control. And don't forget, he had that bad hand. He reached for a towel, had a couple of stitches in his pitching hand, and he gets hit strike 3, and the crowd is on their feet. So the Phillies go 1-2-3 in inning number 1. The first half inning, the Phillies nothing with the Astros. Coming up. All right, let's check the defensive alignment for the Philadelphia Phillies. Pete Rose again at first base for manager Dallas Green. The second baseman is Manny Trio. The shortstop, the veteran Larry Boa. At third base, Mike Schmidt trying to get himself going. In left field, the rookie Lonnie Smith this afternoon. In center field, fleet of foot, that is Gary Maddox. A great play yesterday. Bake McBride over in right field. Behind the plate, Bob Boone. And the pitcher starting and hoping to keep the Philly hopes alive, the veteran left-hander Steve Carlton, a record of 24 wins and 9 losses.
The batting order: Bull, Cabell, Morgan, Woods, Howe, Cruz, Pujols, Landis-Doy, and Vern Ruhle. Different from yesterday, necessitated by the loss of Cesar Cedeno, resting comfortably in the hospital, surgery last night.
There's the curveball by Carlton, and he's got an excellent one. We're going to see if we see a different Steve Carlton this afternoon. He had a lot of rest prior to game number 1, and he was not sharp at all. Bounces that curveball, and the count 1-1. Carlton, if you recall in that first game, we mentioned the first 4 innings he threw 76 pitches, barely a hit on the count, rarely. Then he settled down, that's foul away. And over the next 3 innings threw but 36 pitches. That was the only game that the Phillies have won so far.
Remember, in that game, Poole did not play. Joe Morgan was rested because of the bad leg.
The breaking pitch gets him. Now strikeout number 1 for Steve Carlton. 1 gone. Here's Enos Cabell. 3 hits in 12 at-bats in the championship series. Yesterday went 2 for 4. On the year, 276 with a couple of home runs and 55 RBI. We mentioned that Cabell has a slightly pulled groin muscle. He did it in an attempt to steal second base in yesterday's ball game. He made the comment to Joe Morgan after the 10th inning when Morgan came up in the 11th. He says, do something big. He says, I don't know how much longer I can go out there and play. And that's exactly what little Joe did. He led off with a triple. There's the strike on the breaking pitch.
And Cabell not only went out and played last night, he went to the hospital to visit his good friend Cedeno. He's telling me today Cesar lay there half out of it but crying because he could no longer participate.
Well, that's a tough break because you're looking at a man who was down here with the Astros when they did not have the pennant contenders, and now they definitely have a shot at the World Series, and he cannot participate. 0-2 the count. Carlton and the Phillies trying to bounce back. One hop to Schmidt. Behind the bag. Throws and a get him. And just get him.
For a man with a pulled groin muscle, Cabell sped down there.
He got there in a hurry. This was a high bouncer. Schmidt behind the bag had to wait for it to come down. Was able to set up the long, strong throw. And Pete Rose, he got off of there in a hurry, but right there's the veteran Ed Vargo to make the call. Oh, with 2 outs, Joe Morgan stands in. Joe with 2 hits in 6 at-bats in the series with 4 walks. Of course, the big triple yesterday that eventually turned into be the big run.
Joe was funny. He was kidding with his old buddy Pete Rose before the game. He said it shouldn't have taken that long. No way Maddox should have caught that other ball.
Fouled at the plate, and the count goes to 1-1.
If you remember that earlier inning, but still a late inning, when Morgan hit one in the gap, and Maddox, with those antelope strides, made an utterly spectacular catch.
He thought the ball was in the gap. It was even hooking away from Maddox, but Gary just outran it. 2 balls and a strike. Not only was Morgan's triple yesterday very big, but remember game 2, the key double in the 8th inning. The strike, and the count goes even at 2-2.
You mentioned that the Astros are confident. This is true. They seem to be able to weather any personnel loss. Did that when they survived what happened to Jay Rodney, and now they expect to survive what happened to Cesar Cedeno.
Comebacker. And that is out number 3. So the Houston Astros go down 1-2-3 in the first inning, and after 1, the Phillies and the Astros, no score. We're ready to go to inning number 2. And for Philadelphia, they will go to Pate McBride, Manny Trio, and Gary Maddox in that order. No score. Both pitchers, Vern Ruhle and Steve Carlton, retiring the side in order. There you see Bake's championship series numbers, 3 for 14. He's had 1 base on balls. McBride, he was almost knocked out of the lineup, crashing into the wall on Joe Morgan's triple yesterday. He suffered a bruised left hip and left hand. He had x-rays last night, but they were negative. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bake.
They can't afford to lose Bake. He's been a hot hitter. Hit safely in 14 of his last 15 games. 11 of the last 12 regular season. 3 straight in this series.
You can see how manager Dallas Green has moved his lineup around, leading off with Smith and McBride hitting 4th and up the middle. That's a base hit.
Quickly, let's go down to our ABC colleague Steve Zabriskie downstairs.
Thank you, Howard. I'm here with Tom Rich, who is JR's friend and lawyer. And what's the current status of JR's condition, Tom, and his prognosis for the future?
Well, he's going to be going to California very shortly for surgery, which is corrective surgery. And hopefully, even though we're not counting on it, JR has a chance to be at spring training next year. But in the meantime, we hope that this surgery will permit him to be able to resume a normal life. And then we'll treat the question of pitching again after that. But we're cautiously optimistic about that as well.
Thank you, Tom. Let's go back to the booth now to Don and Howard.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. And all of our hopes are certainly with Big JR. Manny Trio, a leadoff single by Bake McBride. Trio, 3 hits and 12 at-bats on the series. That's the first base hit of the ball game. Ruhle will keep McBride close. You've got a feeling, Howard, the way that Dallas Green has moved Lonnie Smith into the lineup and rearranged his lineup, he is going to try and run a little bit this afternoon. He's going to try and make something happen. You pointed out they have left too many men on base, 30. And that is what Houston is thinking also. The pitch out to no avail. 1 ball and no strikes.
Now let's see if they pitch out again.
Ruhle with excellent control. We've talked about that, pitching out a couple of times in a row. McBride a good lead. There he goes. Swung on and missed. Throw through. Not in time.
When you have a good controlled pitcher like Ruhle, you just wonder why they won't pitch out a second time. Billy Martin talked about this in the American League Series. He often does it.
Now we'll take another look at it. McBride, excellent speed, long, loping strides. The throw Didn't appear that Poole's got a real good grip on the ball. He one-hopped it to Morgan, but Bride is there with ease. Vern Ruhle threw a few days ago. We mentioned he had a couple of stitches in his finger from catching it on the nail as he tried to pull a towel down. He had a little problem with a fastball. Hit to the right side, and Trio does his job. To third, McBride, as Morgan throws him out.
Stolen base set up the first scoring opportunity. That's obvious. What's interesting is that so far in this series, the Phils have stolen 5 bases in 7 attempts. The Astros, no stolen bases.
And that is something when you think that the Astros on the course of the year stole 195. The infield is in. You can see what Bill Verdon is thinking. He's going to gamble right here. He doesn't want to give Carlton any breathing room if he can. Gary Maddox, the hitter.
And this has been the most solid player on the Phillies in this championship playoff series, Gary Maddox.
Jammed him and loops it foul right side. 0-1 the count. Maddox 4 hits and 12 at bats. He has 1 extra base hit, that a double.
And he has been a wizard in the field.
He certainly has. Look at that, driving in runners from third with less than 2 outs. Hit hard and foul. That scrambles the Phillies at that far end of the dugout. No balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. McBride at third, no score. Phillies second inning. Game number 4. Got him.
Well, he has not gotten out of this inning yet, but if you're beginning to suspect that somehow, some way, this team executes when they have to execute, yes, you're right. That's the way they won the Western Division.
They have been sitting back kind of tongue-in-cheek, laughing at some of the reports that they've read and heard about no offense, no names, who are the Houston Astros, and they sit back and say they will find out. That quiet confidence that really, I think, is instilled by their manager, Bill Verdon. Here's Larry Boa. Boa, 3 hits in 9 at bats, 3 walks in the series. The infield now with 2 outs. They move back. Cabell just inside the bag at third. Bounce to the shortstop, Landeskog. He goes to first in time.
And they did it again. And the Phils left still another man on base. For want of a fly ball, a pennant can be lost. We'll be back at the Astrodome in a moment.
Now the Houston Astros get ready to take their bet at inning number 2. And it will be Gary Wood, Art Howe, and Jose Cruz, the first 3 that will face left-hander Steve Carlton. Pop right side. There's McBride to the line. Out number 1. With 1 out, Art Howe will come on. Art hitless in this series, 0 for 7. He was 0 for 3 opening night against Carlton.
Why did Bill Verdon send Howe up to hit when he knew Howe would be walked? Because he wanted Howe walked. He wanted to solidify his offensive position in that big inning yesterday when they won the game. He wanted the bases to be filled. He was afraid McGraw might tinker around with Bergman and get Bergman without scoring the run.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what Bill came out and said. And Howe goes after a fastball and doesn't get it. He thought that they might gamble and pitch to Bergman. Should they make an out without the run scoring, they're still set up in double play depth to possibly get out of the inning. So he just made Dallas Green walk Howe, and then the rest is history. Art trying to catch Schmidt back at third. Rose deep at first. Mike comes in just a little ways, now moves back to his normal position. The outfield, they play Howe to hit to the opposite field. Line down the left field line. Lonnie Smith, excellent speed over. Howe's going to go for 2. The throw is not in time.
Here it is, another look. Pitch right in the belt area was just what Howe wanted. Quickly picked up by Smith, but no chance to get Howe. By the way, As speedy as Smith is, do not think that he is a great left fielder. He is not. Indeed, in later innings, if things work the way Dallas Green wants, you may see Smith taken out because he is not the best left fielder in the world.
There were a few raised eyebrows this afternoon as the second guessers moved around, wondering why Dallas didn't move a defensive man out there in yesterday's game. But here's Jose Cruz. That's foul back and right below us.
Get up from under the table, Don.
0-1 the count. Cruz, 4 hits in 9 at-bats in the series with 5 base on balls. Good breaking pitch. 1-2.
Carlton has always had great success against Gio Cruz. Not that great success against Cedeno. This is where they really miss Cesar's bat in that lineup.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Yesterday, Cruz was walked 3 times intentionally.
That was a nifty play by Bob Boone.
A great play, Howard, because that ball, a curveball breaking down and away. Look at how he short hops that, just like an infielder. There's a chance for Howe to be on third. Got him.
You saw a feeble defensive swing there, virtually no swing at all. That's the way Carlton handles Gio Cruz most of the time. There it is again.
That pitch just wasted, made him chase the breaking pitch down and away. So now there's 2 outs for the Astros here in their bottom half of the second inning, and Luis Pujols comes on. 0 for 6 in the series, a couple of base on balls. Alan Ashby is still out. He's got that rib problem in the collision with Joe Ferguson. That's skied to right center. There's Maddox playable. And out number 3. So the Astros are turned away, and after 2, it's the Phillies nothing and the Houston Astros nothing. Before we go to the third, let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
KETV Channel 7 Omaha.
Bob Boone to lead it off, followed by the pitcher Steve Carlton, the leadoff hitter Lonnie Smith. No score, inning number 3.
You're not at a football game, ladies and gentlemen. They cheer in organized football cheering fashion for their orange team. Love your orange, and they were cheering Houston Astros.
There's the strike by Ruhle. Boone, 2 hits and 11 at-bats, hitting 182 in the series, 229 on the year. 7-2 at home. You've got to pitch well in the dome. This is definitely a pitcher's park. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Both teams threatening in the second, only to have Carlton and Ruhle turn them away. To the shortstop, Landeskog. To Howe, out number 1. Here's Steve Carlton. Carlton went 0 for 2 in the first game that he pitched. We mentioned before, and we'll say it again, you've got to be careful with this big guy because he can get a hold of one.
He hits it a long ways to deep right center field. It is out of here. 3-run home run. It's a 4-0 ball game.
And the Astros pitchers know it. In a very interesting talk between Joey Niekro and Joey Sampeto this morning earlier in the dugout, they were both talking about how carefully all Astros pitchers pitch to the Philly pitchers.
Hit well center field. Terry Poole having to give ground, but he makes the catch, and that's out number 2.
There is Joe Niekro, who matter-of-factly said, I didn't mind being taken out, but, you know, I've worked 11 and 12 innings before, Howard. I could have gone further.
You'll see that little silver round object in Joe Niekro's hand. That is a counter. You'll see Mater D's sometimes use that in a restaurant. You'll see in stadiums around the country that you'll have counters like that, trying to keep an accurate count on certain things, and that's how they count the pitches of Vern Ruhle. And this is Lonnie Smith, 2 outs. He bounced to short his first time at bat. The count is 0-1.
Joe is praying for victory so he can call his folks in Lansing, Ohio, and say we did it.
1 ball, 1 strike. The infield straightaway, the outfield, they play Smith to hit to the opposite field. And that is to the opposite field and a base hit. Gary Woods gets it back into Morgan, so a 2-out single by Lonnie Smith. The Phillies have a runner aboard. And we go to Pete Rose, who lined the Cruz and left, who made an excellent catch. It's awful hard to come in on those balls, Howard, on the artificial turf and make any kind of a diving catch. We saw Piniella in the series in Kansas City come in and try and do that
and hurt his leg in the process.
It can tear your knees up a little.
But this ballpark can drive you crazy on defense too, because somehow you get that mottled lighting through that mottled roof and you lose vision on it.
Well, keep an eye on Smith. You've got the hole on the right side to hit through, but you've got a speedster at first. There he goes. The pitch is strike. The throw through, not in time.
No chance.
Now, 2 stolen bases by the Phillies, 1 by McBride, 1 now by Lonnie Smith, and both, Howard, have been on a hop to Joe Morgan.
No, he got a good jump, not a great jump. Good throw might have had Smith there.
There's another look at it. It looks as though he just about slipped. He kind of spun his wheels a little bit going off, but the throw was to the shortstop side on a hop, and Morgan right there just satisfied with making the stop of the ball. Just missing with a breaking pitch inside, and the count goes to 2-1. Ruhle wanted it. Doug Harvey said no.
Everybody knows Pete Rose. There's not enough you can say about him. There's little more to be said about him. But what grit. His right ankle is so swollen, it's hard to believe he's out there playing. That's the result of the unfortunate accident that befell Cesar Cedeno yesterday. As Cesar was falling, he inadvertently kicked Pete Rose in the ankle.
You saw that figure on Pete Rose. That was during the regular season. A check swing, and he let it go. He caught it too early. He tried to jump out there, and he let it go, Howard. I don't know where that ball might have ended up. So the count goes 2-2.
You may be right. Let's look at it again.
There's no need to really try and catch it right now. That ball, if it comes down and moves out into fair territory, and there's where he's moving into fair territory. All he's got to do then is pick it up and throw Rose out. He's not even moving.
No, Pete was watching the ball, which is, to me, the big point.
So we'll see how big that play might have been if, in fact, it had have rolled fair. But it's 2-2, 2 out. Smith at second base, no score in the Philly third inning. Just ducking that left shoulder, the right shoulder, and tucking it in. Watch out, Pete. This is something. He has done this for so many years. Just turns inside.
I tell you, Pete keeps crouching more and more at the plate in the field. Pretty soon he's going to be under the ground. I come out like a groundhog.
I was kidding you. I said the older you get, the closer you get to the ground. Full count, 3-2. Misses outside, and Rose is aboard.
I don't think they're sorry about that. They've had success thus far with Schmidt, but that doesn't seem likely to last forever. Still another opportunity for the Phillies, who are bent upon setting all kinds of records, if the past is prologue, for men left on base.
Pops him up right side, playable. Art Howe says he'll try it. Number 3, the Phillies are turned away again. In the inning, no runs, a hit. They lead 2 more. They've left 3 through 3 after 2.5. The Phillies and Astros, no score. Rafael Landeskog has scored both winning runs in the 2 Houston victories. It'll be Landeskog, Ruhle, the top of the order, Terry Poole. Bounce to Schmidt, the big hop. To Rose, out number 1. Well, tonight, it's a fun-filled doubleheader aboard the Love Boat starting at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time. A newlywed couple's honeymoon cruise gets out of hand when the groom's friend shows up. Doc loses his heart to a beautiful passenger, and a frisky husband finds trouble when he looks for a little fun. Then on Fantasy Island, Barbie Benton and Connie Stevens guest star as two gorgeous showgirls who depend on tattoo to fulfill their dreams. Again, that's 8, 7 Central and Mountain, followed by Fantasy Island. It well left field. Going back is Smith. That's the pitcher Ruhle, and down in Dead Man's Gulch, he hauls it down.
Dead Man's Gulch is right. How those balls hang.
That ball was hit well. Carlton threw it exactly where Ruhle was swinging. Or Ruhle was swinging exactly where Carlton threw it, depending on how you want to put it. But Lonnie Smith, excellent speed, goes back to make the catch. That's a home run in Philadelphia, Howard.
Yes, indeed. Dallas with a kind of smirk. Yeah. Let him hold one of theirs up now in this ballpark.
Here's Terry Poole. He takes the breaking pitch for the strike. He struck out his first time at bat. 2 outs in the Houston third, no score. The Phillies with 2 hits. The Astros with 1. Look out. A little check swing. Bouncer to Schmidt. Goes off balance, and they get him. Good play by Mike Schmidt.
Excellent play when you've got a speedster like Poole.
So the Astros are retired 1, 2, 3 in the third. And after 3, as you look at Mike Schmidt come in one more time, a good off-balance throw. They get him, and we are scoreless after 3. Bake McBride to lead it off, followed by Manny Trio and Gary Maddox. McBride singled, stole second, was stranded there in the second inning. Runs up, hits the bunt, and takes a strike. Line to left. Cruz is going to have to play it on a long hop. So Bake McBride gets an 0-2 breaking pitch over the plate, goes to the opposite field, and he's aboard. His second hit of the afternoon.
He hit that beautifully. Now that's a hitter. That was hit scientifically. He went right with that pitch. You saw him just laid the bat against the ball. He is a hot hitter, as we have said. And now Ruhle must be watched closely. His past pattern has been to get stronger. Most of his runs have been given up in the first 3 innings. Let's see if that continues to obtain.
McBride stole his first time on base. He's 2 for 2. They will keep him close again. The Phillies have 2 stolen bases, 1 by McBride and 1 by Smith. There's our overhead shot from the gondola. Look at that lead. Manny Trio handles the bat well. Popped up foul out of play. Pujols back to take a look. That'll be well back into the seats. Remember, we said yesterday you're looking down from the gondola shot that is 208 feet or about 18 stories high. Top of the dome. There's the lead, and they will move over there one more time. Well, our congratulations to Ewing Kauffman and the Kansas City Royals, the champions of the American League. He bluffs going. The bunt is popped up foul, and it's back onto the net. And the count moves to 0-2.
Points well taken, Don. Kaufmans have waited a long time for this victory. They've taken enough bruises and enough insults for allegedly choking when they played the Yankees. They didn't choke. And you can't choke when you got a player like George Brett and a manager like Jim Fry, the little general.
Yes, sir. He did a great job. 0-2 the count. He bluffs going again, and it's hit and a fly to third baseman Cabell in the left field. Cruz will get it back in, and the Phillies have something going. So Vern Ruhle had 0-2 the count to McBride. He got a breaking pitch over the plate. He singled to left. He has the count 1-2 to Manny Trio. He gets the pitch up over the plate.
Here it is.
Trio knocks it by the third baseman Cabell.
That's the point. He got the breaking pitch over the plate in where Trio could get good wood on it. So Ruhle now is digging a hole.
Runners at first and second, nobody out, and the speedster Gary Maddox stands in. Gary struck out his last time at bat. He struck out with McBride at third and 1 out. Now Cabell comes up inside the bag at third. Howe shortened up at first. Landestoy trying to keep McBride close at second base. The outfield straightaway. See how Dallas Green wants to play it. Howe creeping in, and the throw back to second base, not in time. Landestoy trying to sneak in behind McBride. The pitch was a ball.
Let's look at it from overhead.
Now the pitch is by the hitter, and McBride has got to hurry back. Gee, those are interesting shots.
Almost, but not quite.
Those are interesting shots. Here you see Howe creeping in. Maddox, he's going to bunt, but he's going to hit and fouls it hard and deep down the left field line. The 1-1 pitch. Bunted foul. He was trying to go to third. A ball and 2 strikes.
Here it is again. And as we watch Maddox's failure to bunt successfully, you have to wonder, watching the flow of this series, how many times can the Astros get in and out of these situations? How many times can the Phillies fail?
1 ball, 2 strikes. McBride at second. At first is trio. Howe now with a 2-strike count has moved back. Cabell has moved back. And again, Vern Ruhle has 2 strikes on the hitter. Back to him. He short hops and he forgets where the buttons are. Oh, I don't know whether he caught it or not. If he short hopped it, and now we're going to have an argument. Just a moment. Did he short hop it or did he catch it? If they go back to second base, they got a triple play, depending on if he caught the ball.
Now this is something.
Doug Harvey and Ed Vargo, 2 of the senior umpires in the National League, having the discussion. Harvey was blocked out. He's out.
It's
a triple play. And the inning is over. Here comes Dallas Green.
We have seen everything in this series.
I do not believe it. Doug Harvey, which he had to do. He had to ask for help. He got it. It's a triple play.
Let me tell you something. If there is nobody breathing in Philadelphia, if there is nobody alive after this turn of events, you can understand it. It's unbelievable. Look at Pete Rose.
Now they're going to ask for more appeals, more opinions. The Phillies standing back, the 4 umpires doing the talking. Doug Harvey, Ed Vargo, Jerry Crawford, and Bob Engel. Here comes from the right field line, Bruce Froemming. From the left field line, Terry Tata. You will get all 6 of them in there. And now Pete Rose is asked to move back. Larry Bowa is asked to move back. They will try and restore order.
Well, I can't get any opinions from Froemming and Tata, not from out where they were. What they want to do is assume control of the field situation. And I don't see any way in the world they can reverse that decision.
If they do now, you will hear some kind of a roar go up in the Astrodome, and it might be the 9th wonder of the world.
It would be an explosion, not a roar.
They will still talk. Bill Verdon watching what's going on. And it appears that the decision will stand. He is out. It's a triple play. The side is retired. And Ruben Amaro, the third base coach. He is livid. Let's look at it again.
Let's look at the replay now. Here. Let's see what shows here. Watch as closely as you can.
He caught it. Yes, he did.
Caught it. Got the glove under the ball. Now the rest of the play.
There's the looper.
Or did he?
Or did he? Now I don't know.
Or did he?
They go to first. They will throw to first, and that is the double play. Now there's 2 outs. The runner has gone from second to third already, Howard.
Yep. was it. And Dallas Green is enraged. Boa is livid, absolutely livid. But we showed you two different angles there. On one it appeared he caught it, on another it appeared questionable. Now let's look at it from behind again.
Look at it one more time.
That's the one that makes it questionable.
It's hard to say because of the length of his webbing. Look at it again.
But from this angle, it will appear as if he caught it. This would cause Pete Rozelle, the football commissioner, to tell you this is why you can't count on replays. There, it looked like he caught it.
It appears that he caught it. I believe it was down and buried in the webbing, Howard. I believe he caught the ball.
Well, that's the way it's ruled, and it doesn't matter. It's not going to be changed.
Right now, moving over to the first base dugout, the commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, in the booth just to our right. There it is again.
Go backwards. That's it. Now let's go forward. The webbing of the glove.
The glove is
that
on the
angle
ground.
appears to be under the ball.
They are talking on the first base side by the Houston dugout to the National League president, Chubb Feeney, the two senior umpires, Doug Harvey and Ed Vargo. Dallas Green will wait another decision. Bruce Fromming coming over. There's the conversation.
What may be happening is a confession by the umpires that there is doubt among them. This is not an easy spot for Chubb Feeney.
No, it's not an easy spot. I would not want to be in that spot. Chubb Feeney is saying that if that's what you said he did.
No, I wonder.
Oh, I don't know. The way that Chubb was looking, I wonder what's going to happen. They're going to bring the Astros back onto the field, I believe, and they're just going to call the runner out at first base, if that's what they call.
Well, apparently there was doubt. Then it'll be Verdon's turn to explode.
And you, not only Bill Verdon, but there's 44,000 plus people in the stands, and you know that they're going to explode.
I wonder if they're going to ask to look at the replay.
They're getting a little bit antsy right now because it's taken a while to get the Phillies off the field, and all of a sudden the conversation with Bill Verdon would mean only one thing, Howard, that they are going to exchange, I believe, they're going to change their decision. And now Bill Verdon's going to get a little hot. I'll guarantee you the quiet man will get a little hot.
Dallas Green stands aside.
Here comes
now
Ed
the
Vargo.
crowd's beginning to get a little hot.
Green is still. I think Dallas feels as though he has an upper hand.
Bowie Kuhn is very placid. We're not in the spot where we can see him, but this isn't his baby.
This is a National League decision, and I know the commissioner is probably just as happy that he does not have to make any decision right now.
Well, you can only guess from here, but I think quite clearly the umpiring crew confessed to doubt when they spoke to Chubb Feeney.
There's no question in anybody's mind that they confessed to doubt. I think that, first of all, there was doubt as soon as Doug Harvey went and asked for help from the first base umpire, Ed Vargo. The Phillies still on the field. Now, wait a minute. Now the Phillies are getting hot again. Mike Ryan, Dallas Green, and Starrett, the pitching coach, and it appears it's going against the Phillies now.
Well, umpires are only human too, and their indecision has seemed apparent. Now look at Bobby Wine.
Your backs are to the wall. You have not scored. The Phillies have been exasperated, and you know Dallas Green is livid.
Well, if it is officially a triple play, it's the first triple play in Major League playoff history. And it occurred in such an unorthodox way. Usually it's a line shot with the runners running.
Dallas Green can get you told in so many words, and he is getting Doug Harvey told right now. But it appears it's got to be, and Dallas kicks the dirt as he goes back down into the dugout. Well, I wonder what they're going to do with the runners. Now they're going to, McBride is going back to second base. They're going to call it a double play.
Aha.
Now how do they get that out of that?
It looks to me like some kind of compromise.
I don't know how they compromise that.
I guess the contention is that the umpire's indecision at the moment was what enabled Howe to have the time to get down to second.
That very well could be, and it might be that Doug Harvey going down the dugout might be calling upstairs. Dallas Green, whether he protested the game or not, I don't know, but maybe Doug Harvey is calling somebody upstairs to find out exactly what might be going on, or explaining it to the public address announcer, to the official scores, and then we will get word on that very shortly. But it could be because of the umpire's indecision, Howard, that they will allow McBride to go back to second base, and it appears that that's exactly what they're going to do. Well, I've never seen anything like that. But Manny Trio is out at first base. If that's what they're going to do, I don't see Trio out there. The hitter, should the Phillies stay at bat.
Well, wait, we've blown the picture up a little from the home plate camera. Now let's watch this nice and easy. There it is. I just don't know either way. Would not constitute, I think, evidence in a court of law.
There is the National League President, Chubb Feeney. Bill Verdon, regardless of the outcome, has got to be happier than Dallas Green. Bill thought he had a triple play. He ends up with a double play. Dallas Green thought he had one out and runners at second and third. He ends up with a double play, a runner at second, and Larry Bowa the hitter. So the double play will go 1-3 if you might be scoring with us.
We're trying to get official word on this as quickly as possible.
Well, there's Bake McBride at second base.
What they apparently decided was that the ball went back to second base after time was called, after the execution of the double play on Manny
Trio at
Manny
first.
Trio, yeah.
Now, right now, let's go down to Steve Zabriskie, our colleague, along with the National League President, Chubb Feeney.
Thank you, Don. Chubb, there was some confusion. You had a discussion with the umpires. The ruling now has been changed. What was the discussion? What was the original ruling? And now what is the ruling that is going to prevail?
The ruling now is Doug Harvey, the plate umpire, was blocked out, he says, by the base runner. He called it a trap ball. Afterwards, both the third base umpire and the first base umpire said the ball was caught. Since the play was made to first base, the runner was doubled off first. Doug Harvey's ruling is that because his call may have confused the other runner, he's back on second because he was confused. They made no play on him at the time. So there's a man on second and 2 outs.
All right, Chubb, thank you very much. National League President Chubb Feeney ruling with the help of the umpires that because their decision confused the runner at second base, that meant that the runner at second base probably would not have been tagged out even if the play had been ruled right in the beginning. And so they're allowing the runner at second base to go back, ruling that it is a double play, and the runner at second will be there with 2 outs. Okay? Let's go. Let's listen to what Chubb is saying with Harvey.
Tell him we are.
They're still having a discussion, but Chubb Feeney would rather that we not participate in it. If he has any more to say, I'll get with him in just a minute. Let's go back up to Don and Howard.
Very good, Steve. At least Chubby has explained finally what happened.
Well, that seems to be fair. I can understand the confusion in that if you're Bake McBride. And I can understand that we said that right at the very start, that Maddox had to block the home plate umpire, Doug Harvey. But Doug Harvey made the right move to start with. If you're not sure, ask for help. And he got the help from the third base umpire. And that third base umpire is Bob Engel. He got it from the first base umpire, Ed Vargo. And right now, let's go down to Steve Zabriskie one more time.
Okay, thank you, Don. Now, Doug Harvey has talked to Dallas Green and has come back over to President Chub Feeney's box, and apparently the Phillies are now going to play the game under protest. Even though they got a little bit of the ruling back, they are still going to play the game under protest because they feel the ball was, in fact, trapped. Okay, back to you, Don and Howard.
All right, Steve. Well, one thing, you won't have to have anybody sending in any reports, I don't think, unless that's just a formality, Howard, because the National League president is sitting right here. You heard Chub Feeney. He sees and he saw what went on and what is going on. The commissioner of baseball off to our right, Bowie Kuhn, watching the goings on. So here's where we are. We're in the top half of the fourth inning. We have 2 outs now. Larry Bowl will be the hitter, and Bake McBride will be at second base. We have no score. Game number 4. The Phillies with their backs to the wall, and they are living in that third base dugout. Bull bounced to short his first time at bat, and should the Astros get out of this inning, you will hear a roar wherever you are outside of the state of Texas.
Nearly 15 minutes of discussion among them. Now let's see what the effect is, if any, on Ruhle.
Well, he's had a chance to warm up a little bit, waiting for things to happen. To the second baseman, Morgan. They're going to get out of it. They do. The Astros walk the tightrope one more time. Through 3.5, the Philadelphia Phillies nothing, and the Houston Astros nothing.
Down 1-0 with runners on first and second and no outs. Gary Maddox hit a soft liner to the mound. Then all hell broke loose.
That could be, oh, they called him out. We're going to have could have a triple play. A triple play. I don't believe it.
It was a clear short hop. And Doug Harvey behind the plate is calling this right away. And then they start throwing around to the bases, tagging bases all over the place. It's a triple play, and everybody's running off the field.
Oh, I think the Phillies were robbed here. He made the sign that that ball was trapped. And the Philly base runners were in jeopardy at that point.
That is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Boy, I don't know what else can go wrong. How many ways the Phillies can be prevented from scoring.
And I'm holding Pope. Pope wanted to get over there and get in the middle of the yard. I said, just sit here. They'll work it out.
I thought, what else can happen? You know, what else can happen to keep us from winning it?
And you just thought sooner or later, they've got to reverse this and get it right. Well, they didn't get it right.
Now, wait a minute. McBride is going back out at second. I don't see how they can call one of those runners out. Looks to me like they made some kind of a compromise.
After all that, we didn't score.
I'm back down here with National League President Chub Feeney, and during the course of that last report I gave to you, Doug Harvey came back over and said the Astros are also going to play the game under protest. Chub, now that both teams have protested, do you feel that there are sufficient grounds for both of them?
I think that we have very good umpiring crew out there. They know what they're doing. They saw the play as it was. Right now, I would say that there would be no protest, but I'd have to make that decision after the game.
Okay, thank you. National League President Chub Feeney, let's go back to the booth.
All right, Steve, thank you very much.
Excellent reporting down there by Steve Zabriskie in an absolutely unique situation.
For the Houston Astros in the fourth inning, it'll be Enos Cabell, Joe Morgan, and Gary Woods. Well, that old saying in baseball, if you hang around and watch it enough, you'll see something that you've never seen before. In 25 years, Howard, I've never seen that. Foul right side, Rose giving chase, McBride giving chase. That'll be back and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I've long felt that Doug Harvey is one of the best umpires in baseball. He's a stand-up guy. When his vision was blocked, he admitted it. And I think he comported himself absolutely properly in this situation.
I do too, and I agree also with Chub Feeney that you have one of the most excellent group of umpires in this series that I think you could possibly put together.
All right, that incident now a part of the history of this series. It's been turbulent.
And just adds a little more exasperation to the Philly ball club. Hit well left field. Lonnie Smith going back. Dead man's gulch, but this is off the wall. That ball could have been caught. Cabell to second base, and he holds.
I told you earlier that in the later innings you might see Lonnie Smith taken out of there, that he is not a good fielder. That was the evidence. That ball was eminently catchable. Let's look at it again. There it is. Now Cabell got good wood on it. You know by now the ball hangs in the Astrodome. See that? It didn't even hit the wall on the fly. Here it is again. Smith gave up on that ball instantly, misjudging it. So the Astros get a big opportunity. As they seem to be playing with an additional ally in this series known as Destiny.
A leadoff double by Enos Cabell, and Joe Morgan will be the hitter. He bounced back to the pitcher, Carlton, his first time at bat. He'll be trying to pull the ball and move the runners at third and listen to the crowd. Steve Carlton had a long layoff also. He did not have that many warm-up pitches to come back. He could have taken all he wanted. He said, "I'm ready to go." There's the strike and the count, 1-1. Hit well, left field, deep, hooking, it is foul.
But just barely.
Now the Astrodome comes alive.
You saw the chagrin on Joe's face. He thought he had it, but it hooked just foul. Last minute.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Joe Morgan. On deck, Gary Wood. At second base is Cabell. No score. Bottom of the 4th. Just missing outside. The count 2-2.
What a tough pitch to take. Carlton wanted that one so badly.
There's the eye of an eagle. The veteran, Joe Morgan. Bounce to the first baseman, Rose. He gets the job done. To third is Enos Cabell.
Did what he had to do. Now, Bill Burton had enough confidence in the youngster who was at Tucson to bat him 4th.
He did his job. He's got to be happy getting a pat on the back. He's saying, "I wish that other one was a little bit fair."
That's what he's really thinking, Don.
Just a little too much top hand, he's saying. Dallas Green not really thrilled by what he's seen in the last half hour.
Well, he's got to feel he's snake bit. The man's human. He thought he had Ruhle ready to go, a big inning on tap, and then an apparent triple play that became a double play. And then the left fielder, who he inserted in there in place of Luzinski, misplaying a fly.
Infield in, curveball low. 1-0. The outfield. Straight away, fairly deep. They play Woods to hit to the opposite field.
Just joining us in the booth at this very moment, Keith Jackson. Great to have him back.
Check down low.
Now, how are we going to explain what happened to Keith Jackson?
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Keith, I don't know if you're ready for this. You have just watched Texas and Oklahoma. You saw all of the things that happened in Dallas last night. This is unbelievable. I listened to it coming in the car from the airport.
It's incredible.
Bounce and a great play by Boone to save a run.
Do you see the way Boone used that entire body? Keep the ball in front of him.
2 balls to strike, 1 out. Here it is again. This is double tough. Oh. play by Booney.
Who would have expected a series like this between these two teams?
Low ball 3. 3-1.
Did you ever see a triple play become a double play?
Art Howe on deck. He has the only other hit off of Steve Carlton. We mentioned the double in the second inning. Carlton trying to think of everything that his years of experience can muster. That's foul, and the count 3-2. Low ball 4.
And up comes the man who won the pennant. Really, together with Joe Niekro for the Houston Astros on Monday past. Art Howe.
Runners at the corners, at third, with the go-ahead run. Enos Cabell. There's Art Howe. That's Cabell. And at first, young Gary Wood. The infield back, they will look for the ground ball in 2. They will try and get out of it. The Astros have walked the tightrope. They've reached the other end, and now the Phillies trying to do the same. Ball 1 outside. Carlton is not throwing that well right now, Howard. It appears the layoff.
That layoff must have hurt.
Outside, ball 2.
Struggling now, but at the same time he must pitch. How carefully. A strong right-handed hitter. He's thrown 53 pitches, incidentally, thus far in the game. Remember, Jose Cruz is up next, and Jose is usually duck soup for Steve.
2 balls in, no strikes, 1 out, 2 on. Cabell at third. Woods at first, no score. Houston 4. Hit well left field. Lonnie Smith giving ground. That'll get the run. Both runners tag. Smith's throw, and he drops the ball. Here comes Cabell to score. And there goes the runner to third to throw. They get him. And now the Houston Astros are upset.
What you're saying is not credible.
There's the fly ball to left field. The runner, Cabell, is going to tag. Woods was tagging at first. Lonnie Smith is going to go to second base, and he loses the ball. I've never seen anything like that. I don't either. Now, Woods is going to second. He's going to go to third. There's the throw to Schmidt. It's offline, but it's there in time, and now it's Houston's turn to argue. But it's the double play, the run scores, and the Houston Astros, lo and behold, through all the wild and woolly things that we have seen, they have taken a 1-0 lead.
Craziest thing I have ever seen.
Let's go back and look at what started everything off. There's the little humpbacker back to the pitcher. That is Ruhle. Runners at first and second, you remember. McBride at second. Trio was at first. The hitter was Maddox. Home plate umpire Doug Harvey said he was blocked by Maddox. They initially called it a triple play after he asked for help. Here it is again, enlarged.
All right, this is blown up, enlarged, as we just said. That's why the quality of the picture isn't that good. But anyway, you know now, Keith, what happened. Doug Harvey admitted his vision was impaired by the batsman. Let's watch it again closely.
I wonder even if Vern Ruhle could tell you whether he caught it or not.
Oh, I know what he'd tell you.
Well, so do I. But
under any circumstances, the Phils got nothing. And now Dallas Green must be wondering why he ever put Lonnie Smith in left field on.
Well, he's had a couple of funny plays out there. That will be scored a sacrifice fly, an RBI, an error on the left fielder to allow Woods to go to second base. And then the putout was from 7-5. That is from Smith to Schmidt. And we get ready to go to the top half of the 5th inning.
And
ready to call it.
Returns.
There he is. Here's Keith Jackson. And a little soft bouncer over to the third baseman. And Cabell makes the throw across. And you've got an out on Boone.
All right, here's the isolation and the tag at third. This is Gary Woods trying to get the extra base. Houston noted for that. The throw offline, but the play made by Mike Schmidt.
It was there, and a tough play for Schmidt, and the third base umpire, Bob Engel, had a great angle of it, and he made the call.
And he made it decisively.
Yes, sir. No ifs, ands, or buts. Lefty Carlton. Steve at the plate. Good hitting pitcher. We established that in the opening game of this playoff series. Vern Ruhle hits a corner to get a called strike. 1-0. The Astros getting the lead, bottom of the fourth inning, and what will go into history books as one of the wildest fourth innings in baseball history. Roll to Morgan. Second baseman throws. You've got 2 outs.
Now, Keith, probably before you landed, we established early on the past pitching pattern of Vern Ruhle. And that was that if you get him, the time to get him is in the first 3 innings.
Here's Lonnie Smith, and he's probably standing at home plate trying that sigh. I think just tells it all. Keith saying, what in the world happened to him?
Why did he put me in there?
Well, the youngsters had a fine year for Philadelphia, and those funny things can happen. I'll say one thing. I was looking for the ball, and I thought I lost it somewhere. And I've seen those things happen to pitchers at times. Yeah. That's right. But never to an outfielder. No. It's to Smith, the strike. You could hear the roar halfway to Dallas. I bet you could.
What's going on?
I wonder, they might have told you to go up one more time and come around again.
By the time you got to Houston, the ball was rising.
That's down the right side, curving, just foul. Whoa, look out. Curveball got away from him. 2-2. Well, should the Astros win and a few of these Texas fans start to celebrate and come back out here around 11 o'clock, they might not be too sure what they've seen this afternoon. Well, I know now the answer to why Lonnie Smith dropped the ball out there. I'll tell you in a minute. That's hit on the ground for the shortstop. Throw to first. Inning is over. So Vern Ruhle turns the Phillies away in order in the top of the 5th inning. And the sound coming out of the Astrodome, I think, clearly defines for you the enthusiasm that apparently has just absolutely exploded. Astros lead 1-0.
Well, we're back in the Astrodome, and that graphic tells you exactly why the Astros are prevailing, at least at this moment.
Jose Cruz leads off, takes a strike from Carlton on the outside corner. Pujols on deck. Landis-Story will follow.
It helps when you get a triple play that becomes a double play, and the other team says it was a single out.
Breaking pitch sails outside. Now I can tell you why Lonnie Smith dropped that ball in left field. Every kind of ball in Texas today is slick. After watching the Okies and the Longhorns, the Sooners in Texas fumbled that thing away, threw it away, dropped it, did everything in the world except step on it and kick it flat over there today in the Cotton Bowl.
What was the total number of fumbles?
And wound up 13 turnovers in the ball game.
This misses Cruz. Hilda.
3 balls and a strike. That's strike 2. Come back here, Jose.
He's not going to get it that way.
That's a little wishful thinking right there.
Hates to face Carlton, I tell you. Well, who doesn't?
I was going to say, he's probably not alone. He's got a lot of company. 4 hits for the Phillies, only 2 hits for the Astros. Ball is hit to straightaway center. Maddox is there. 1 out. Tonight, fun-filled doubleheader aboard the Love Boat, starting at 8 Central and Mountain Time. Newlywed couples honeymoon cruise gets out of hand when the groom's friends show up. Doc loses his heart to a beautiful passenger. A frisky husband finds trouble when he... What? Then on Fantasy Island, Barbie Benton and Connie Stevens guest star as 2 gorgeous showgirls depend on tattoo to fulfill their dreams of a lifetime. Love Boat doubleheader starting at 8, 7 Central and Mountain, followed by Fantasy Island tonight on ABC. I'm going to watch that.
I'm glad you had to read it.
That's a mess. I just tried that about an hour ago.
is hit sharply deep to center field. Maddox going way back. It is off the wall. Bounces away from Maddox. Pujols turning, going for 3. The throw not in time. Of all people,
look at the pom-poms.
Maddox was playing very shallow, and Pujols got it all. We mentioned yesterday if the ball might carry anywhere in any part of this ballpark, it's just straightaway center field. Matthews can run like a deer, but he could not catch up with it. That hits halfway up the wall. Now comes back and gets over Matthews' head. That ball is crushed. That's 406 feet away. Off the wall by Matthews. Pujols had his neck bowed, head down, and was heading to third.
It took him a long time to get his first hit in this championship playoff series, but what a hit. And clearly, as you look at Gary Maddox again, clearly Carlton does not have the efficiency he had before that 15-minute break.
It is Landis-Stoy at the plate with 1 out and Pujols on third. A chance for the Astros to go to a 2-0 lead. Left field, base hit.
This team can taste it, Don.
Not only the team, but the Houston fans as the Astrodome goes wild. There you look at it again. A line drive by Schmidt. He started the wrong way. He was setting himself, and then he could not get back over. I don't know if he'd have caught the ball anyway.
Now they're singing their fight song. Here come the Astros, burning with desire. Here come the Astros, breathing orange fire. And Dallas Green.
Ball 1. Vern Ruhle, the Houston pitcher. Dallas Green's got to feel like the sky's falling.
A local writer had a clever piece today. He wrote that the Astros have become jiggers.
Yeah, I saw that. Ruhle turns to bunt, pitches up high.
Everywhere Dallas Green looks, he sees these little bugs itching, clawing, biting, scratching. They're all over you.
Well, they've had the great misfortune of losing J.R. Richard in the course of the season. Yesterday, we lost Cesar Cedeno with a broken leg. They don't understand that when you lose superstars, you're supposed to step back. 2-1 pitch, and Ruhle pulls his bat away, and the pitch is called a strike by Doug Harvey.
You missed the ball Ruhle hit his last time up. He really caught one, belted it to deep left field.
Carlton has now thrown 70 pitches to the plate.
Lonnie Smith caught that.
We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. He's gone. Doug Harvey calls him out. Vern squaring to bunt. Took the breaking pitch on the inside corner. Well, there's where Bill Vernon is going to gamble all the way right here. He's got enough confidence in Vern that he's going to try and have him bunt with the 2 strikes, but all of a sudden Carlton throws in that deep cut and curve, and they take it for strike 3. 2 out now. With Landis-Stoy at first base, here's Terry Poole. Struck out and bounced out to the third baseman in 2 trips. Houston leading 2-0 with single runs at the bottom of the 4th and 1 here in the 5th. The appeal down the third base line. No, says the umpire, Bob Engel. Landis-Stoy, Keith, with excellent speed at first base. Carlton certainly aware of that, and you're has to keep him close. You've got to keep an eye on Steve. He had 7 balks this year. He had 11 last year, which is a major league record. Sometimes he doesn't quite step all the way to first base. Runner goes, pitch inside, throw through, safe.
And that's Houston's first stolen base of the championship series.
He got an excellent jump. There he is right out there on the carpet. Now Landis-Stoy with very good speed, and Bob Boone made a super release on this ball.
It was right there, but Landeskog just able to outrun it, and there's another great shot from that gondola.
It's terrific. How do you like that shot? Now still another angle.
There he is. The throw is right there to Boa. He slaps the tag down, but his hand is under the glove.
Well, that
2-1 now to Poole.
That gondola shot, that you could call proof.
3-0 to Poole. 3-0. Dallas Green, I was looking at the monitor. He just looks in a state of shock for the moment. I couldn't say I'd blame him. Fastball is too high to Terry. He's walked. Landeskog at second. Poole now at first. On the base on balls. It'll bring up Enos Cabell,
who has become a hot hitter now. He started yesterday, coming out of that short slump. Went 2 for 4, 1 for 2 today. That was in the 4th inning.
We're going to get some action in the Philadelphia
Moreland there.
Right.
McGraw.
That is right-hander. That is Ron Reed.
Ron Reed.
Down.
Yes, yeah. I was about to say McGraw, as we said, not likely to see action today. Dead tired. Burned out.
Carlton's high and away to Cabell. Now they were talking about tomorrow. They say it'll be Bystrom. The Astros say if there is tomorrow, it'll be Ryan.
With force and relief, if necessary.
Right. Fouled off. And it might be, I don't know if he's going to go with Bystrom or not. I would have to wonder where Ruthven is.
Yeah, me too.
I think Dick pitched a whale of a ball game.
It'd be a tough spot to put a youngster.
That's right. It would be an awful tough spot. 1 ball and 1 strike to Enos. Hit to center. Not too deep. Maddox lopes in, makes the catch. Inning is over. Exciting as Houston gets another run. After 5, lead 2-0. Back with more after this word from our local station. Inning to the top of the Philadelphia. Near the top. Pete Rose in the number 2 spot today. Then it comes Mike Schmidt. Then comes Bake McBride. McBride hitting in the number 4 spot, with Luzinski not in the lineup. Pete Rose fouls it off. He's walked and lifted to left field. If we have game 5, if the Astros are not able to hold on to their 2-0 lead, game 5 will be on the air at 8 o'clock Eastern time here on ABC tomorrow night. Rose fouls it at the plate. Oh, these fans right now, they've got a roar with every strike and every out.
But Ruhle has to keep coming on now.
Got him. Again, that is something you do not see too often. That's a second strikeout for Vern Ruhle.
Well, if you know Vern Ruhle's personal stories, some of which I've just detailed, he is one of those remarkable stories that can occur in sports. He dreamed of being a major leaguer as a kid of 6, grew up in the Detroit area. Lo and behold, Detroit drafted him.
Mike Schmidt, strike 1.
But you'll recollect, Keith, he did not make it with the Tigers. They lost interest in him, and so apparently did baseball. Until finally, Houston latched on to him, and here he is.
Line score in the ball game. Schmidt hits it on the ground, and it's into center field for a base hit. Now it's McBride with Schmidt on first. Right at Howe, second one, back to first. Throw it away into the dugout. McBride will go to second. There's a place where Landeskog just got himself in a bad position to make the throw, because you've got to make the double play on this ball right here. That ball hit on one hop to Howe. He got a good strong throw to Landeskog. Now Landeskog, all he's got to do is come across, but he's almost, looks like he's trying to get the runner down at the same time and throw to first, and he throws it high over Ruhle's head. Vern, very fortunate he doesn't twist an ankle or something. You can see how awkward he comes down right there. Now we'll look at it again from our gondola shot. That's the shortstop, Landeskog, coming across. He'll be awaiting the throw from the first baseman, Howe. Now, he's got it in plenty of time. Now the throw is high. He was trying to get the runner down a little bit. And I don't think he had to get him down that quick because he was quite a ways from him.
He probably could have, well, he did have time to move on away from the bag and not involve himself with the runner.
Very easy. You've got 2 out now with Manny Trio at the plate. And Bake McBride at second base. And Trio hits it in the air to left center field. Terry Poole cruising over, makes the catch.
This pattern is so unchanging, Steve, that it now seems to be etched in a tablet. We'll be back.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Joe Morgan, Gary Woods, and Art Howe. And they have not given an error to Lonnie Smith in that adventure that he had out in left field a moment ago. Well, the reason being Woods was tagging and going to second base, and they can't assume that he would have stopped him from going, and he threw him out going to third. So he advanced to second after the catch, and he was thrown out going to third, and they take the air away from Lonnie Smith. That was a ball that slipped out of his hands when he went to throw. And the count on Joe Morgan, 2 balls and no strikes. Rolled at third. Schmidt picks it up, throws it across, and it's a foul ball. There's an interesting call right there. That ball squibbed off the end of the bat. Morgan rolling hard away. They're not getting any argument from the third base coach, Don Leppert. That ball just cued off the end of the bat. Mike Schmidt, you can see that little jump. He goes to his left, then has to go to his right. That ball is slicing on him, cutting away from him. And there he makes the catch, and look at the third base umpire, Bob Engel. He's right there. That ball was behind the bag, so he will make the call. Now we get more action down in the Philadelphia bullpen. The count on Joe is 2-1. Saucier and Knoll. Left-hander, right-hander. Carlton misses. 3 balls and a strike. Left-hander Saucier, the right-hander Knoll.
So you have the feeling that that delay and the long argument took away some of his efficiency.
I really do,
No
Keith.
question about it.
I think it took away a little velocity and a little bit of his sharpness. He was throwing well. And he did not throw that much to come back and resume play. But when you've thrown well over 300 innings, you don't really have to throw a lot. Your arm about stays ready most of the time.
Well,
aboard.
You're at the Cotton Bowl still when Joe almost had one out of here today. Just hooked foul at the last instant. We've talked about his leadership capacity. Just to show you what he means to this club, on August 14th, that was the turning point. He called a clubhouse meeting, players only, and told them we can do it, we got to do it, we got to start now. They went out and won 10 straight.
There you see Joe taking off the spike shoes and putting on the nice little comfortable slippers.
Now, is he starting something here that everybody is going to be trying?
Well, I don't know. Keith, when you run on this artificial surface with those spikes on, it feels like someone is driving nails up through your feet. It is hard, and that makes it a much easier feeling right there.
Someday there may be a rule passed against that, because if everybody did that, each game could be 7 hours.
The concession stands would not. They would be very happy to see it.
Gary Woods is up. Pitch is outside.
We have yet to see Bob Lillis slide.
I told you he'd have a scoop if he does.
I just want to see him sit down.
They're giving Woods left center field. Maddox shading him well to the right in center. And it's to Schmidt at third. Over to second. Over to first. No. They get Morgan at second. Manny Trio did not get a real good throw that time from Mike Schmidt. Mike had to charge the ball. We'll look at it one more time. Hit off the end of the bat. Now Mike charging and short hopping. Now trying to find the handle. Gives it a little underhand flip, and he gives it to the outfield side of the bag. Manny trying to regain his balance. He's got an excellent arm, and he just does beat the play. Here's Art Howe.
Schmidt is a defensive wonder on that short hop play. He has scintillated throughout the series.
Boy, Carlton's got a good move. And he's got the knowledge to leave that left foot high, and even with that rubber. Runner goes, pitch out, throw, no. Bad throw by Bob. He had it in a great location, the best location of any pitch he's had to try and throw a runner out on. He's jumping out. It's a pitch out. The runner had an excellent jump. Carlton took a little more time, and that enabled the runner to get there. I think that's where Gary Wood says, if you pick me off now, pal, you've got me picked off, but I'm going. Boa trying to reach back and come down with a tag, just a little late. And the offering to Howe is a breaking pitch that dips in low. They won't take any chances now, Keith. They'll just put him on. Howe's on. The theft of second by Woods, the second steal in the series for the Astros. They had none in the first 3 games. See, this is something that's uncharacteristic of Steve Carlton. He struck out only 3, and he's walked 4. Now, you don't see that too often. Jose Cruz bends it away with a breaking pitch, ball 1. That pitch is inside. Well, he's ahead, all right. 3 balls and no strikes. Dallas Green's been peeking down at that bullpen. Barrett, the pitching coach, looking down. He gets the high cap sign that they're ready.
93 pitches by Steve thus far.
There's a strike. 3-1. All 4. That's 5 walks by Carlton.
3 in this inning.
Dallas Green had rather take a whipping than go out and have to pull out his ace left-hander, but he's going to leave the dugout and go to the mound. And whether he takes him out or leaves him in will remain to be seen. Looking to the bullpen. He's going to go to the right-hander. And he's going to have to take him out, and Dickie Knowles is going to come on. So we've got timeout at the Astrodome in Houston. The Astros are leading the Phillies 2-0, and a new pitcher will warm up. Young right-hander Dickie Knowles in relief of Steve Carlton. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning, you see his seasonal numbers there. He's making his 2nd appearance in the championship series. He pitched 1 1/3 inning. Gary Woods over at 3rd. Art Howe standing at 2nd, and Jose Cruz at 1st. The batter, Louis Pujols, who tripled and scored the 2nd run for Houston. Popped up, out into right. Back right. Runner breaks, throw coming, and it is wide of the mark, and it's 3-0 Houston. Now they've got an appeal play at 3rd base. They will go over there. Pete Rose is going to go down. Everybody in the Philly dugout is up and pointing to the bag. But what they've got to do, they've got to put the ball in play and then make the appeal. Mike Schmidt looking at the 3rd base umpire, Bob Engel. He will not say a word. The Phillies out, Bobby Wine out, Ruben Amaro out. And we'll see what happens. It's Mike Schmidt telling the youngster, Dickie Knowles, exactly what he has to do. You've got to get on the rubber. You've got to put the ball back in play before you can make the appeal. And we'll see what will happen. Oh, it may not be 3-0. After what's happened earlier, don't be sure of anything. That's right. We only know there's 1 out on the play. Now he will give it to Schmidt. Schmidt will go to the bag. He's out. How about it?
Oh, and the fans don't really know what's happened.
Left too soon. And the inning is over. And suddenly, the dome grows quiet. And the score remains 2-0. Well, the quiet remains in the Astrodome. The crowd still stunned over having lost the run on the appeal play at third, as Woods came too soon.
That would have been some extra insurance run for Houston. But in this game, we've seen so much already. And Don detailed beautifully for you what the exact rule was. And the Phillies were sure of their ground, Keith. They're all out there.
Every one of them. That's right. All right, it's Gary Maddox, Larry Boa, and Bob Boone. And here's a halftime score from the West Coast. Stanford 21, UCLA nothing. Halftime.
I don't believe that. That's the team that ripped Ohio State.
Kicked them sideways last week. Maddox swings and it's fouled. Ohio State came back today. It was 63-0 over Northwestern, but Miami of Florida was defeated by Notre Dame 32-14 to end their undefeated run. Nebraska big 54-0 over Kansas. Rolls it toward the hole, but not sharply struck. Plenty of time for Fidel. Now there's a case when you're right on about 5 pitches and you hook them foul. Then you come back and just kind of cheat yourself on a fastball up and in on a little check swing ground ball. Here's Larry Boa, and listening, flying over from Dallas a while ago when that incredible inning was taking place. Listening to the radio description, I was surprised to see, one, Boa still in the ball game, and two, him not stricken by apoplexy. The way he was, well, I think the big thing, I think everybody, including the umpires, were in a little state of shock right there, Keith. Joe Morgan, short, quick throw to first, 2 down. If it stays like this to the ninth, you're going to see some apoplexy somewhere around this Astrodome. Know that. Boy, these people.
You'll see that. We will also have seen the most improbable ball game of our time. Do you ever play in one like this?
No, not quite. I've said before, I have never seen that play in over 25 years in this game. And Boone pops it up. Shortstop Landeskog. Who gets him an order. In the middle of the 7th inning, Houston 2, Philadelphia nothing. Landeskog, Ruhle, and Poole against Dickie Knowles. Ball 1. On the ground, Ruhle backhands, goes to the pitcher covering at first. Landeskog is out.
He can fly too, that Landeskog.
He can, and that was a good play by Dickie Knowles. Of course, that's one thing that you're taught from day one if you're a pitcher, and that is any ball hit to the right side, you've got to get over there. And look at the hand now. Right now, there you see Pete Rose coming up, and Dickie Knowles moving in a hurry, just does get him. As Vern Ruhle gets a big ovation. Strike. Just incredible that Philadelphia has been shut out for 18 straight innings. Popped him up. Mike Schmidt at third. 2 down. It just can nullify, Keith, any kind of an offensive attack with power that you might have. And that's exactly what it's done to these Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, maybe so, but they've had the opportunities. This club has just failed to ever deliver even a fly ball. You heard Pete Rose before the game. He said, I can't believe we can't hit a fly ball when we need one.
Terry Poole, top of the order, outside. Stanford and UCLA. We gave you the halftime score. Stanford 21, UCLA 7. They're now in the third quarter, and it's 21-21. Bruins coming back. To emphasize your point, Howard, that they've had their opportunities. In the 18 innings in which they have not scored, they have stranded 16 base runners. 35 base runners left in the series. It's incredible. You know, you said 35 for Philadelphia, and on the other side, Houston has stranded 30.
The difference is they've been winning.
That's right. Poole's aboard. Here comes Cabell.
To embellish the point further, Mike Schmidt has had countless opportunities to drive in runs. He has not succeeded. He got a single in the 6th inning. The last hit given up by Ruhle. It came with no one on.
I'll show you how things turn around. Here you've got a runner on third base, McBride, in the very first inning, and second inning, I should say, with one out, and they strike Gary Maddox out. That's just the way the cards have fallen. Two out. Poole edging off first, and they pitch out.
Well, World Series. The Houston Astros is Mr. John McMullen, the principal owner. He used to be a partner of George Steinbrenner's in the New York Yankees. I wonder how much now he can taste that World Series, and if he's thinking, gee, I had wanted to go against George.
Strike called by umpire Doug Harvey. Make it 1-1. I would think there's a little shock running through the Yankee organization, as well the ranks of the Yankee faithful.
Well, look at Bill Burton. He had been the Yankee manager until succeeded by Billy Martin.
Bottom of the 7th inning here in the Dome with 2 out. Terry Poole on first base, and Houston leading 2-0. Runner goes, they pitch out, and the throw is not there. Larry Boa thought he might have tagged him well up enough the line before he got to the bag. But right there, the second base umpire, Jerry Crawford, another good one. He is right there to make the call. We'll look at it again. They pitch out. Booney's throw now is into the runner. Boa has to go out, tries to make the tag, and no, sir, he did not. There's another look at it.
No, he didn't touch it.
Just misses him. Knowles has gone to 3-1 now on Cabell. And they've got Poole at the turn. They got Saucier in the Philadelphia bullpen and young Dave Smith in the Houston bullpen. Boy, that's a big run out at second base now for both clubs. Cabell walks.
And guess who's coming up? Mr. Professional.
Joe Morgan. Well, you have the right-hander Knowles, the left-hander Saucier throwing, Morgan the hitter, left-handed hitter, Joe putting those shoes back on. And that's the situation. And now time call, and Dallas Green is going to go to the mound. I think he's just waited just enough. He wanted to make sure that Saucier was warming up and was ready to come in. Saucier turning around and watching the action with his hands on his hips, and that was enough for Dallas Green. Now Dickie Knowles will leave. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 outs, 2 on, and it's 2-0 Houston. Kevin Saucier, making his second appearance in the championship series, pitched 2/3 of an inning in the previous series in the 7-4 win by Houston at Philadelphia. So the young left-hander is on to face Joe Morgan with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th inning and 2 on. Poole is the man out at second. Cabell is at first. Ball 1. There's Poole. He has speed. And there's Enos Cabell. Poole walks, stole second. Cabell walked. Pitch is inside and low to Morgan. Now the numbers on Dickie Knowles. He won an inning and a third. The run Runners on base, his responsibility. Did not allow a hit. He did not strike out anybody, but he walked 2. Inside. 3 balls and no strikes to Morgan. You've got Brewster and Reed, 2 right-handers throwing in the Philadelphia bullpen. Ron has been up 3 or 4 times. That nod was that he's ready. All 4. 3 walks in a row, 2 of them by Knowles, 1 by Saucher, and Dallas Green is wondering what next is going to happen to him. Well, he's waiting right now for Gary Woods to make his way to home plate. He doesn't want to go out there and make a move. Now he'll go on out, and we'll see which one he comes with.
Now, as we await this change of pitchers, a reminder that from the 4th inning on, this game has been played under protest by both teams, the Phils and the Astros. But as Steve Zabriskie reported via his conversation at that point over the whole confusion surrounding the triple play that became a double play on the Gary Maddox short line drive that was apparently caught when plate umpire Doug Harvey's vision was admittedly impaired, Chub Feeney made it, I think it's fair to state, clear that the protests will not be validated on either side.
Howard, I think if we got a little time right here, just for a second, I'd go back and update that for the people that might have tuned in just a little bit later.
Okay, just add this, Don. Chubb did say that he would not make his decision till after the game, but substantively, he did say that he saw no reason to validate either protest.
Scared me. I thought we might have to come back Wednesday. And Denny Walling is summoned to hit for Gary Woods to face the big right-hander Ron Reed. Reed's second appearance. He was raked over pretty well in Philadelphia. Pitched 1 1/3. They got him for 4 earned runs. Bouncer to Rose. Over to the pitcher. Reed steps on the bag, and they slam the door. So they leave 3 Astros burning on the bags. 2-0 Houston. Back with more after this word from our local stations. The Astrodome sort of quiet now, with Houston's Astros leading 2-0 over the Philadelphia Phillies, and the crowd apparently just sort of sitting down to take a rest so they can scream themselves hoarse if their Astros can hang on for 2 more innings. Jeff Leonard has gone in to play right field, and the Walling pinch hitter situation for Woods. Leonard replaces Woods out there, and here comes Greg Gross now to hit in the pitcher spot for Philadelphia. Gross making his 3rd appearance. He had a sacrifice fly to bring in a run.
Remarkable thing about Ruhle, we'll see if he can hold together these last 2 innings. He's had 84 pitches, 63 strikes, only 21 balls.
It was Gross that knocked in the go-ahead, the 3rd run in Philadelphia in the 1st game, the insurance run. That's what it was. Pitch is outside. Two right-handers for Dallas Green to choose from. Walk and Brewster in the bullpen. 1-1 pitch to Greg Gross. He is hit up the middle for a base hit. So the leadoff man is on. And Lonnie Smith comes to the plate. Ruben Amaro, the first base coach for the Phillies. Lee Elia at 3rd. Special time tonight for Love Boat and Fantasy Island. 8-7 Central and Mountain. And now there is a stirring around on the Houston side of the diamond as the bullpen goes to work again. Zambito, the left-hander. Smith, the right-hander. Hit toward the hole, through the hole. Had the infield stretched, as Don said, and it bounced right on through there.
Now, will they finally break through? And Dallas Green comes up well, leaving Lonnie Smith in there. He started him today, took the risk on his fielding. That risk did not pay off. Now, coming out.
Mel Wright, the pitching coach, going to go out, and he's going to talk to Vern Ruhle. He wants to find out exactly how he feels.
In this chess game between the managers, give Dallas Green some credit there. He could have, needing a home run to tie, put Luzinski in at that point to pinch hit for Smith. He obviously never even considered it, Don.
I don't think so. I think what he needs is base runners. He's trying to look for a little rally if he possibly can.
That's true.
A home run there ties. Well, it's nice to be tied, but on the road, you like to go ahead if you possibly can. And he's trying to look for a big inning, and right now, he has got something started. Runners at first and second with nobody out, and you've just gone through your leadoff man, Lenny Smith, and you've got Pete Rose, and you've got your big power man, Mike Schmidt, coming up behind. Pete Rose struck out his last time in the 6th inning. One foul. Well, there's something that's a little out of the ordinary when you play to tie on the road.
More and more, that theory is beginning to attract people. That you got to tie before you can win.
Now there's a lot of truth to that. That's an actual fact. It's just not
if it's not.
It's right. You got to scoop is right. See that low number when Philly hitting with runners in scoring position in the series. One strike on Rose. It back, strike 2. There's something you won't see Pete Rose do too often as you look at the two runners, Gross and Smith. He's not going to take this pitch too often. But that is right there. That's inside and tight. 1-2. Houston, which has never won anything, winning the West this year. Literally 6 outs away from their first pennant.
A lot of outs.
It is. There are a lot of outs when you start thinking about it. Hit toward the hole, right side. It's in there for a base hit. Here comes Gross around third. He's going to score. Throw to third, not in time. Back to second, not in time.
So
2-1.
With that hit, everything swings. The drought is over. Look at the Philadelphia dugout. And 2 runners now in scoring position.
Well, here's a play right here where Leonard's got to know if he's got a chance to get Smith. Smith stops just outside of the reach of Rose. You can't let the winning run go to second base. The play is right there. The throw offline, and now Rose continues to keep right on going, and he's in at second base. And here comes Bill Verdon. That's going to be all for Ruhle. He has Smith and Sambito throwing in the bullpen, and the hitter for Philadelphia is Mike Schmidt.
So Smith will come on to face Schmidt, and Smith struck out Schmidt. A called third strike, fooling him in that critical moment yesterday.
Well, he struck him out in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. Now you just wondered how many times you could keep the Phillies turned away. Pete Rose has now tied Greg Luzinski, hitting in 13 straight league championship series games. A standing ovation for Vern Ruhle. Big play here, Keith, is that throw to third base and allowing the go-ahead run to go to second base. I did not see a cutoff man. Of course, there was nobody. Landis-Stoy has to be at second base. Morgan had been over diving for the ball, but Leonard has got to be sure that he can make the play at third base. There you look at it again, and here's a ball. You've heard the term in baseball. It had eyes. And this does have eyes. Smith holds up just a second. Morgan's out of the play there, Don. That's right. That's why he's not at second base. But Leonard's got to be sure that he can get the man at third base. And I don't, with a good throw, he doesn't get him because Smith can motor. Rose just keeps right on going because he's got the play in front of him and he sees that there's no cutoff man there. That's a heads-up play on his part.
So in the nuances of baseball, Lonnie Smith moving to third as he did proved out for Dallas Green. See the way things even out in the game? First he cost Dallas in the field. Now he helps him at the plate and on the bases, which was why Dallas put him in. Things having a way of evening out. But now, middle of the Philadelphia order. There's Vern Ruhle, who has to be disappointed. And now the biggest play of all is the runner who left third too soon.
That's right.
Because Houston would have been in a very different position.
Mike Schmidt comes to the plate against young Smith. Dave making his third appearance. It was in the 7th inning of game 2 with the bases loaded and 2 out. Smith came in for Zambito and struck out Schmidt looking on a 2-2 pitch. Fouled at the plate. Strike 1. You got McBride on deck, left-handed batter. Trio, a right-hander. Zambito is still out in the pen. But then behind McBride, as you say, Keith, you've got Trio followed by Maddox.
Yep. Well, if he can somehow work Schmidt and get him, then he'll walk McBride and work on Trio.
Bouncer is fouled down the left side, third base side.
But this is their big guy, whether he's come through or not. And he seems due.
Fouled at the plate, and that one bit Pujols. That got him on the right knee. And those hurt. Here's the breaking pitch away. Schmidt just did get a piece of it. I believe that's that fork ball. Get him there on the instep, or
yeah, right instep.
Yep, that's it. That'll make the dogs bark a little bit. Ashby with a cracked rib. He's sore. So they're putting some of that
ethyl chloride
on it to keep the pain down. Get that ball off the inside of the foot or inside of the ankle. It can crack it, chip it. It sure can. And we'll take one more peek at it. And he's not going to be able to go. No. Here, let's take a look at it. So Pujols has to leave the game. Foul tip that bit him inside the right foot. And let's see who they send. I would certainly think it would be Ashby. I don't know whether he can go. I think they, well, let's see. You never know. There's Allen coming in. He says he's okay. That might be what they're talking about. Either that or he's going to go out and warm him up, or he's going to look for some more gear. Don Lippert down there. No, he's not going to come out, Keith. No, he's just going to come out and warm him up. He said it's going to be Boucher. Boucher. Boy, he's a big guy, too. Boucher back at the plate now to do the catching for the Houston Astros. Alan Ashby can't go. And who knows how severe the injury to Pujols may be.
How abruptly a massive swing in team fortunes has come about. Houston riding the crest. And then suddenly the hits against Ruhle. Even before that, a runner leaving third on a sacrifice fly too soon, occasioning a double play instead of a Houston run. And that inning might have still been going on. And
if needed, game 5 tomorrow night, 8 Eastern time. We've got a 2-1 ball game now. Nobody out. Base runners are Lonnie Smith at third, Pete Rose at second. Mike Schmidt, the batter, and a 2-strike count on Schmidt. Pitch is outside, bounces away from Bushy. Boy, there's a case for the two youngsters. They've got to get their signals together. You look at Smith at third. It's a tough situation for this young man coming in here. You know, you're in the game to a point to where you're watching what's going on, but to sit and work on the hitters, watch their approach to pitches throughout the course of a game when you're not back there, and he's only in 22 games last year. Well, he had Mike Schmidt, 2 strikes. Now he's gone to 3-2 with him. First base is open. McBride is on deck. And left-hander Joe Sambito throwing in the Houston bullpen. Up the middle. Morgan has to go to first. Runner scores. Third, Smith, and we're even at 2. Joe Morgan made a mistake because he thought about going to third, and Mike Schmidt, for a big man, can move down the line. Morgan got infatuated with Rose going to third, and by the time he looked to go to first, he did not have a play, not even a throw. He was coming across, looking toward third all the way, and by the time he decided to try to bat first, just simply was no time, because, as you said, Don, Schmidt is quick for a big man. That's right over the mound. Now, if he goes over there, he's got to play it first base all the way, but he looks at third, and by the time he does that, there is no chance in the world.
All of which shows you that it happens to everybody. You can be the complete professional, but you're human. There's Joe. And he's thinking about what he just did, and he can't undo it, and he's sick about it, but that's the way it is. Another look at it. You'll see Schmidt in the background on this one.
That's the high hopper over Smith's head. Morgan looking at Rose, looking, a little skip hop, and now by the time he looks at Smith, he says, I can't make the play, and can't. And so the Phillies have scored 2 runs in the top of the 8th inning. Still nobody out. Pete Rose is over at third. Mike Schmidt is on first, and Joe Sambito has come in to pitch.
And you are bearing witness to one of the most wildly improbable games in recent baseball history.
And don't forget, it is being played under protest by both managers.
And Andujar and Tug McGraw, would you believe, working in the Philadelphia bullpen.
And here is Big McBride against Sambito. Correct. There's Tug McGraw, who worked long yesterday. Well, he's got all winter to rest.
He's a great kid. He came out today. He saw Bill Verdon. He said, I hope you win it, if we don't.
That's strike 2. Here's a tough kid out on the mound.
He is.
In the same situation at Philadelphia. Big McBride was the hitter. He got 2 quick strikes on him and then got him on a high fastball. He's got, and they were both previous, the 2 pitches were breaking pitches. Now let's see if they change their way of thinking and what McBride might be thinking and what Sambito might be thinking. Got him. One out. Well, he came back with a breaking pitch, the same as what he got the first 2 strikes on, and McBride a very weak swing.
But now, in Dallas Green's words, a patient, experienced hitter, Manny Trio. And this is where the mistake on Schmidt killed Houston.
Had a couple of tough guys, I think, here in Trio and Maddox. McGraw continues to throw in the Philadelphia bullpen. Andujar. I'm going to see what happens here because Bill Verdon called the catcher over. Bochy to talk to him, and I wonder what might happen here. You Could see a squeeze. We mentioned before, we talked to Dallas Green. He said, I thought about a squeeze with Trio in Philadelphia, but he said, I was not sure of the control of McCourty. Howe's holding the runner at first. Trio steps into it and takes it inside. The infield now, Keith, moving back into that double play positioning. Eye on Rose at third. He's still on the dirt. Trio bangs it foul down past third base into the bullpen. Howard, now you're in a position that Pete Rose talked to you about on the pregame show. Runners at first and third, one out. He has got to go. He cannot hold his ground now. He has got to go and make him come to the plate on him, and possibly, you know.
Even Bill Burden agreed with him. And it's just the same way Dallas Green does. Go on contact. That's the order. You take a walking lead.
1-1 count. Zambito looks at first. Cox back at third. Pitch is fouled away. One-two. Devaney. Punch to the right side. Leonard. He caught it. And Pete Rose comes racing in from third. Now they're going to make it a play at first base because they said that he did not. The runner at first base went to second base and they double him up. I don't believe
this game. Schmidt, I don't blame you.
Mike Schmidt standing at second base.
The whole place is dumbfounded.
Mike Schmidt went to second base. They throw to first base and they double him up.
This is a championship playoff series, ladies and gentlemen, and nobody knows what's happening.
But the run scored. Run scored from third. Mike Schmidt is still standing dumbfounded out at second base. 3-2 Phillies.
Now, Pete Rose had a pretty decent year, but not by his standard. All September, he would parade around the clubhouse saying, "Just get me to the playoffs, boys, and I'll take it over from there."
Head right field. Rose is going to score.
With our backs to the wall, Pete took charge.
There, Rose, yeah, safe at second base. 2-1 ball game. Phillies right back in this thing. Line drive right field. It is caught nicely by Leonard, but Rose is going to tag and score. The Phillies lead it 3-2.
All right, Trio hits the ball to right field. Leonard comes in. Now watch the umpire. Leonard reaches down. Looks like he trapped it. Umpire's arm went up in the air. Rose tagged at third. He comes racing in and he scores. That's 2 out on that catch. Schmidt, on the other hand, goes on to second. He's standing there. Catcher has the ball, throws it back to first. They call Schmidt out. Well, that's just routine now, except if you're Mike Schmidt. And Mike is out there. He thinks the ball is trapped. Here comes Leonard. Now look at the umpire right there. We kept going a little bit further. You'd have seen Fromming calling him out. We'll get it back and we'll show you again. Here's Mike. He sees the line drive sinking and tailing. Sinking. Now he wants to go back. Nope, he said he trapped it. In Mike's mind, he trapped it. But not in the mind of Bruce Fromming. Now here's Mike rounding the bag. He sees, okay, he's happy for Rose to score. They had to come out and prize him off the bag, too. Pry him away. There's the angle again. Leonard coming on and making a fine play. And it was just because he was so off balance. Watch the umpire. There's Fromming. Up in the air he goes.
I'll tell you, he had full vision on that play, Fromming. He was in front of the play, not behind it.
And in perfect position. There's the new pitcher and Warren Brewster. I don't believe it. I should have stayed in Dallas.
They call this thing improbable. It is impossible. Now let's see if Houston can come back.
Phillies leading 3-2 with Houston coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And in the oddities of baseball and the contradictions, as Leonard made a great play there on the catch, it was Leonard whose throw to third when he couldn't get Lonnie Smith, really set up this inning.
All right, it's Art Howe, Jose Cruz, and Louis Pujols. Spot, which is now Bochy, since Pujols had to leave with an injury to his right ankle or right foot. Alan Ashby with a separated rib or crack is too sore to play. And Warren Brewster delivers. Howe hits it high in the air to the right center field area where Gary Maddox roams, and you've got one out.
Well, let's look at the catch again. Slowly now. Appears to be a trap from that angle.
You know what's so hard to tell is those outfielders have such big gloves in the webbings as they flop around. Yeah, that's what we got on the pitcher rule. Cruz hits it to center field. Maddox has it, 2 down. They got baskets out there now. They've gone away from the old motorman's gloves.
And all of the elation of just a few moments ago suddenly turned into gloom. You can feel it.
Bochy coming up. Phillies lead 3-2.
And in Philadelphia, there is life.
And the umpires are saying, why us, Joe?
Yeah, we have next October off.
2 out, swing and a miss, struck 1. Warren Brewster is the 5th Philadelphia pitcher. Punch to the right side, flag down by Trio for the 3rd out. So Brewster is very efficient in the bottom of the 8th inning, getting the Astros in order. He threw 6 pitches. Phillies lead 3-2.
I think wacky is a word for this one. Have exercised the rule book in total and may have to go to the courthouse to get a decision in the ultimate. But right now, the Phillies lead 3-2 and send Maddox, Boa, and Boone up. I'm going to take a hard look at that catch, quote, trap out in right field.
We're going to blow it up. Watch again closely. Blowing it up, you get this kind of glazed picture.
Looks like a trap to me.
Well, Ruben Amaro went at Fromming between innings.
Maddox up there, swings and misses against Zambito.
Fromming's a tough cookie to go against. He told Amaro, you come one step closer. Goodbye, baby.
You got 6 of them out here that are tough cookies. And they're all excellent umpires. I've got to say, I can't believe I've ever seen any more adversity in a game. And honestly, Howard and Keith, I think it's been handled excellent.
I'll tell you, if the Phillies were still trailing off that play, we'd still be arguing.
Well, that would be.
Maddox hits it to the right side for Leonard. 1 out.
We'll take still one more look at that catch. Afterwards, Chubb Feeney will call a seminar for his umpires tonight.
Now, think of the big webbing that he has. Now go forward. Does it bounce? Dennis Lewin is saying it bounces. Well.
Switch hitting Larry Boa up there now. From the right side against Zambito. Phillies 3 runs, 9 hits. Astros 2 runs, 4 hits. That's foul. Got a little piece of it, but couldn't flag it down as it goes into center for a base hit for Boa. And the Phillies now are in double figures in base hits with 10.
Well, who do you look at tomorrow? Ruthven and Ryan?
I got to think Ruthven, Don. I'd be very surprised if he comes with Bushman.
I believe so.
Here's Bob Boone, the catcher. Pitch to Boone is low inside, ball 1. Pitch is low.
and purpose in the bullpen.
No matter what the sport, it's mistakes that beat you. The manager drills and drills his team to play mistake-proof baseball. But look at the mistakes here. The runner leaving third too soon. Leonard's throw after his catch. Joe Morgan mistaking Schmidt's speed.
And in a series like this, all the importance placed on it, all those mistakes so magnified. Zambito having trouble with Boone. Boone only 2 for 14 in the series and hitless today. And Zambito has gone to 3 balls and no strikes.
It's the first time you've seen this flawless Houston defensive team make these mistakes.
There's a strike.
So, my friend, they are no longer flawless.
Merely human. Ball is hit hard, hooking down the left side. Foul. And that is just foul. Booney, he's saying the same thing that Joe Morgan said. Why? Too much top hand. Boa goes. Pitch swung on this. Throw to second base. Morgan high. Reaches. No. Gets a good jump. The throw was up into the runner, and little Joe had to go up in the air. By the time he got down, he could not get down quick enough to make the tag of Boa going by. We look at it from our overhead camera. Larry trying to pick up the ball, and now it's just everything for the bag. A good slide. That was what enabled Boa to get in there. He made an excellent slide.
But a good throw gets him.
Oh, yeah, good throw gets him.
Without question.
All right, Brewster will hit. 2 out. Pitch is outside corner to Brewster for strike 1. It's going to be Houston hitting in the bottom of the 9th. With the Phillies on top by 1 will be the bottom of the order to start it. The first 2. Landestor, the pitcher spot, then they'll go to the top. Strike 2. Keith, if he gets Brewster out here and the Phillies don't score, you're going to hear the loudest 9th inning you might have heard all day long. Kind of interesting little fact here, too. The Phillies are now 7 out of 9 in stolen bases. The Astros come up with their last opportunity of trailing through 2. We'll be back after this commercial and the word from our local station. Phillies have a 3-2 lead, the final at bat for the Houston Astros, unless they come up with something to tie here in the bottom of the 9th. It's Landestor to lead it off. The pitcher spot, top of the order, pool. Game 5, if needed, will be tomorrow night, 8 Eastern time. And as Landestor comes to the plate, the crowd comes roaring to its feet. Brewster's outside.
Well, Unser in left field. Ellis Green not risking Lonnie Smith's fielding at this point in the game.
Inside.
He was hurt by the fielding early in the game. He did get the running and the hitting that he wanted from Lonnie in the 3-run rally 8th inning.
Andujar up in the Houston bullpen. Low ball 3. McGraw in the Philly bullpen, standing and watching, ready if needed.
a factor in the game? It is.
Zambito is walking over now to talk to Don Leppert. It's abundantly clear what they're talking about, I am sure. Get him to second.
I have to ask, is Zambito that good a puncher that they've got nobody better in the dugout to move him over? I don't know. Burton, he's the man.
Gets it down. Schmidt throws to first. He does it. He moves him over.
He did it, and Burton was right again.
What a baseball kick. It's incredible.
It's insane.
All right, it's Terry Poole walking out.
We're in Looneyville. Now let's watch Dallas Green.
Green has not moved.
Poole has been a tough cookie the whole series. No hits today, but 2 walks.
He's going with Brewster. Pitch is low. Landeskog representing the tying run at second. 1 out. Cabell on deck. Ball is drilled to the right side. It drops in front of McBride. Here's the runner turning for the plate. Here's the throw. And he scores.
Terry Poole, so consistent throughout this series. In this loony, in this wacky, in this crazy game. The never give up Houston Astros come back, and look at this crowd.
Pitch is out over the plate, and he just hooked it on a line right in front of McBride. McBride's throw comes in. Rose grabs at it here, intending obviously to hold Poole at first base.
There's another angle, Keith. The ball out over the plate, as Keith said. Hit on a sharp line. Reeve thrown in. Off, well, no chance.
We're tied at 3, and here comes Dallas Green out of the dugout to the mound.
And this is what Green has wanted to avoid. How much is left of Doug McGraw's arm? That's why he stayed with the kid as long as he did. And yet, if you want a guy for 1 pitch against a left-handed hitter, you feel you have to go with Doug McGraw. Now, what is happening here? He's still going with the kid. Cabell, a right-handed hitter.
Runner going, Cabell swings. It's looped out to right for McBride. Fake hurries back to first base, bounce to Rose, and they've got him.
I don't believe that. A 4th crazy mistake. Unbelievable by the Houston Astros, Terry Poole. He ran unseeingly. Watch it again. And he made a double play possible, and again we go to extra innings. 3 times in a row.
I don't.
Now we isolate on the runner. You're not going to believe this.
Oh, my goodness. I have no explanation for it. I'm not even going to try. After 9 innings of play, the score. Phillies 3, Astros 3. Well, for the 3rd time. The top of the order coming up for the Phillies now. Hunter, Rose, Schmidt.
One of the people in the arena is Jim Lovell, the former astronaut, who now owns a telephone equipment company in this town and is one of the owners of the Houston Astros. When he was in outer space, it was never like this.
It's Johnson from Zambito is ball 1. Well, I'll guarantee you the 2 athletic contests that I've watched today have been different. You don't expect 14 turnovers in Oklahoma, Texas. You certainly don't expect this kind of happening in a championship series of the National League. 2 balls and no strikes. We've put another championship series record in the book. 3 of them now. 10, 11, and now this one.
2-2. Oh, the tough little cookie from Brooklyn. With a touch of John Travolta in him. Working on his own Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, come on. You've been down here in Texas too long. 3-2.
They never get out. We may never leave this place.
Well, I tell you, these 2 teams have fought each other. It's just incredible. The doggedness of both of them. The character of both of them. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. We're now in the 10th inning. It's now past 7 o'clock in Houston, and Texas A&M and the Houston University Cougars are scheduled to play football here tonight at 10:30. It's now past 3.5 hours for the baseball game. One out in the top of the 10th inning. Pete Rose hitting from the right side against the left-hander, looks it low.
You staying for the football game?
I'm not sure I can handle 3 events in a day. Love both doubleheader, Fantasy Island, later on the West Coast tonight here on ABC. It'll be next year. Rose swings and misses on a sharp-breaking slider that just exploded inside. He singled his last 2 times up.
He does find a way.
Don Drysdale was going down to talk to the winning Phillies. He's now back.
Well, that's a long walk, too.
You believe this thing?
No, I don't.
How did you like pool?
I was talking to Tim McCarver, and he said maybe Yogi Berra is right. It's not over till it's over.
Zambito to the plate to Mike Schmidt. Ball 1. 2-0 pitch to Schmidt is outside. Zambito got Del Unser swinging to start the inning. Rose singled up the middle on him. Now he's in the hole to Mike Schmidt.
I wonder if he's going to give him the green light.
I'm just wondering, looking down in the dugout, I see the big bull down there with a batting helmet on. And you've got McBride coming up next. You wonder if Dallas might make a move.
Just on the outside corner.
There's the bull.
I don't know. You're going to give up speed in the outfield. Something to consider, isn't it? He's got to consider it, but he's also got to get a run.
Yeah, well, that's right.
That was ball 4, and the ball was thrown 90 miles an hour.
Well, you know Mike Schmidt is anxious. Zambito's got an excellent fastball. That ball kind of rides up on him.
It really did rise.
Three and 2 now on the Philadelphia third baseman. Now do you send Rose? Ball is hit to left. Cruz is there. Makes the catch. 2 out.
You get Schmidt coming from 3-0 situation. You're doing something. Now the bull comes on.
So he will send Luzinski to hit for McBride.
Did you see what Schmidt was just telling them in the dugout?
Boy, he's hot at somebody in that Houston dugout.
He was mad at the umpire on the 3-0 pitch call.
He said something to somebody in the Houston dugout coming back by, too. He's just plain hot, that's all. Here is Greg Luzinski, who had his string of successive games in which he had hit safely. 13 snapped yesterday. Mel Wright to the mound to talk with Joe Zambito. McBride has been hot, but not against Zambito. Joey has handled Bink. Top of the 10th inning.
Doug Harvey breaking it up. The man who admitted his vision was impaired by the batsman back in that apparent triple play inning that became a double play and engendered protests from both teams. Mike Schmidt there. Doug Harvey umpired his first major league game in 1962.
On first, 2 out, Luzinski up, and the pitch is outside, ball 1. Hit down the left field line toward the corner. It's bouncing off the wall. Fielded by Cruz. Here comes Rose around third. It'll take a perfect play. The throw to the plate gets away from Buxey. Rose scores. The ball was there in time. The catcher couldn't come up with it.
So the move works for Dallas Green as the big bull comes through.
Well, there's really no way that Pete Rose should be able to score on this ball because the ball was hit. Cruz got on the ball in a hurry. It's hit like a rocket, came right back at him. It hit that mesh screen. Cruz got on it, gave it to Landestoy. Now Pete Rose is just turning the corner, and Landestoy's throw short hops the catcher. Rose is going to knock it out of his hands all the way. Bochy is trying to get to the ball, and Rose lets him have the left right in the choppers. Point is, though, Don, the ball was there. Oh, it was a bad throw, though. It was a bad throw. It short hopped him.
And as we look at it again, even that took Landestoy a little long to see. He held it a little too long.
He held it, but if he throws it all the way in the air, and you got to figure that he can do that. Either that or the catcher's got to go up and catch it. That's all. Go up and catch it. He sees where Rose is. Why let the ball short hop you? Go get it. Rose is going to go all the way. You know that he's not going to wait for anything else to happen. He's seen too much in this series. He's not even going to slow down.
Watch this left.
Here's
of
the
Rose.
Pete Rose and Ray Fosse all over again. Remember that all-star game?
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis. Rose is coming to the plate. Throws the throw. He's in. It's all over. The National League wins.
looked like Roberto Duran coming in, I'll tell you.
Luzinski with a double, moved over to third on the play at the plate. Bochy's shaken off the impact of Rose's collision now, and the Phillies have gone back on top 4-3. Manny Trio is the hitter with 2 out. And he hits a rope into left center field in the gap, going all the way through. Luzinski scores from third. It's 5-3 Philadelphia. Stand-up double for Trio.
I believe that's just a case of inexperience why this inning is still alive. The young catcher's got to go out. If he sees it's going to short hop him, he's got to go out and catch it. Rose is out by 20 feet. Go catch it, make the tag, go about your business. You don't have to stand there at home plate. No one has anchored you there.
But little things during the game. Ashby not available, injured. Pujols going out of the game, the damaged instep, the right instep. And now this. And it happened with 2 out. Give the manager, Dallas Green, some credit too. He made the move, putting in Luzinski.
They're going to walk Maddox intentionally. That's clearly reflected there. Trio's been a big man in this game today. That is a big run he just provided as Larry Bowa, the shortstop, now tips it into the catcher's glove for strike 1. Trio at second, Maddox at first. Bowa swings on it. Doesn't get it. And it's strike 2 on Larry. There are the base runners. Trio doubled in the gap left center to bring Luzinski home. The excitement, the tension of the moment clearly reflected on that man's face. Bowa strikes out. The Philadelphia Phillies scored 2 in the top of the 10th. Lead 5-3. Trying to stay alive. Defensive changes for the Phillies in the bottom of the 10th. George Vukovich is in left field. And Del Unser has moved over to right field. McBride lifted for the pinch hitter Luzinski. So there is still speed in the outfield. And Tug McGraw is on the mound.
You try and sit back and analyze this game today and say where turning points are, and you're going to use up about 2 pages of stationery.
More than that. This was a game that neither team wanted to win, and yet so desperately wanted to win in their hearts that it's affected their play. Mistakes all over the lot.
Joe Morgan against McGraw in the series. 2 for 3 with a double and a triple. Pitch is high and tight.
Doug's job to get 1 more inning out of that arm.
Strike.
Really so much to write about and talk about this game. You're going to pick up the sports section down here tomorrow. They're going to weigh about 4 pounds apiece.
Two and two.
Here's a case of a man right here. If Morgan didn't stop and look in Rose and throw the runner out, Schmidt out at first, it's a different ball game. There's an if with a man coming up in the on-deck circle.
Jeff Leonard. Bounced foul.
And the if with Leonard is if he knew he caught the ball, why didn't he throw to first base and double up Schmidt before Rose scored?
That's one if, and the other if is if Leonard had thrown on the other occasion second instead of the third, you got a different situation in that 3-run rally.
Rose said, there's all kinds of ifs. That's what makes it a great game. Morgan out looking. It appears Tug's got something left. I talked with Joe earlier in the day, and I asked him about, does he see many screwballs from McGraw? He says he doesn't really turn it over and make it do much. He uses it as a change, and that's exactly what he did right there. Leonard looks at a ball inside. He's been to the plate twice. Struck out twice. Both times pinch hitting. Is on deck. Philadelphia 5, Houston 3, bottom of the 10th. High pop to the right side. Right fielder, Unser. 2 down. Phillies hold on and win. We'll play Game 5 tomorrow night. We'll see it here on ABC at 8 Eastern Time.
How either team can have any verve left after this one remains to be seen.
We're getting pretty close to a 4-hour ball game.
Well, you've still got another college game here today.
They figure the pitchers tomorrow. Houston's on record, Nolan Ryan. We're guessing Ruthven for Philadelphia. So Bystrom's a possibility. There's that screwball. Strike to Howe. Next, Love Boat, Fantasy Island, later on the West Coast. Now takes it. Slider inside, 1-1.
They've had a Fantasy Island here this afternoon. Isn't it something?
What a tattoo there.
Hit in the air to center field. Maddox. Phillies win 5-3. They stay alive for Game 5. Their search remains in effect for their first National League pennant since 1950. The Astros have never had one.
Their entire group of athletes, they've been forsaken by their own fans, the Phillies, but they didn't give up on themselves. With all their mistakes today, they held together, and in the end, it was Pete Rose and the bull, Luzinski, who put together the run that gave them the victory.
Once again, the final score. Philadelphia 5, Houston 3. After 162 games of the regular season, 1 game playoff, and 4 games of the National League Championship Series, the pennant comes down to just 1 more.
With 1 out in the 10th, up stepped the Bull, looking for his second big hit of the playoffs.
Line smash left.
What happened next is an image I'll carry in my mind forever.
For third, big wave around. Landis throws. He knocks over Bochy, and the Phillies take a 4-3 lead.
We were playing for a lot then, and the object of the game is to win the game, and you have to do whatever you can. And the play was in front of me. I knew it was going to be close, and I knew I wasn't scared of contact, nor was Bruce.
I can still see him coming, and I knew he was going to score. You know, I guess Bochy will always remember that forearm shiver.
Tug finished it off.
Ball hit the air, shallow center. Maddox coming on. Yes, there will be a 5th game.
And it was down to 1 game for the pennant.